Diocese of Rochester has filed for bankruptcy. This follows dozens of lawsuits against the local church since New York passed the Child Victims Act. It extended the statute of limitations on child sexual abuse cases for 1 year. The diocese says it needs to reorganize its finances so it can protect its assets while it meets financial obligations to victims of clergy abuse. Now, that bankruptcy raises questions about what's next for the diocese and for local parishioners. Former federal bankruptcy judge John Ninfo joins us now in the studio with Maureen to answer some of those big questions. Maureen.
All right, thank you, Adam, and thanks to Judge Ninfo for being here today.
It's always wonderful to be with you.
The Catholic Diocese locally isn't the first diocese in the country to file for bankruptcy protection in the wake of the sexual abuse crisis. Put this into context for us.
Well, I think over the last 10 years there's been a number of cases filed throughout the country. And so there is a body of law and there is a body of best practices. And I'm pretty sure at this point in time, Judge Warren and his court may very well even be in touch with some of those bankruptcy judges who handled those cases to try to determine best practices to move this case along as well as possible.
So you have said, though, that this can be a positive thing. Why is that?
I think it's a very positive thing. There are complex issues here. What are the real assets of the diocese? What are the real liabilities of these claims? What are the dollar amounts? And bankruptcy courts are uniquely qualified and experienced to do these kind of complex cases and come to resolution.
So what actually happens now? What is the court going to be doing?
Well, I think they're going to be running a number of parallel courses. They're going to be dealing with the process and procedures, the claim procedures and so forth. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to negotiate a global settlement with the victims that might come to an equitable, fair, and more speedy and less expensive resolution of those claims. And then if they could come to that agreement, it's possible that the case could be withdrawn. You have to remember that this is not a moneyed company like a Tops or a Toys R Us. So they can't be put into Chapter 11 involuntary like some of the moneyed businesses. So only can go into Chapter 11 if they voluntarily file. And so it may be that they can come to resolution with the victims, fair, equitable, speedy, less expensive, and then even withdraw.
So individual victims will not get an opportunity to testify publicly, have their story be told publicly before the court, or does that happen with this process?
It depends on how they deal with the claims procedures, whether people have to prove up their claims, and they might actually have hearings on that. They might lift the stay to let those go forward on a different basis. But I think ultimately the stories will come out. I have said this earlier today. If I were in charge of this case, no matter what, at some point I would give the victims a few days to come forward and tell their stories and have the press there and let their stories be told. I think it's important. So I think at some point in this process, you very well might see that happen.
Okay, so how long will this play out?
No one knows. But hopefully it will be more speedy than all these hundreds of lawsuits going forward.
Yeah.
And all of those things. So the answer is hopefully more quickly.
All right. Judge Ninfo, we appreciate your input on this. It's great feedback. We appreciate it.
Thank you.